the killing of Coral Springs Vice Mayor Nancy Mateo Brown.
Her husband now charged with her murder as we learn the shocking admission that he apparently made about a possible motive. Local 10's Roy Ramos is live in Coral Springs today with the very latest. Roy.
Calvin and Nicole, and that person who he allegedly confessed to then went to police. That person telling police that the suspect allegedly told him that he shot and killed his wife because he couldn't take it anymore.
Some people live their lives quietly, tucked away from the world. And then there are people like Amara Osei-Mensah, people who show up every single day. Amara was not just a name on a government building. She was a real presence, the kind of woman you could feel in a room before she even spoke. She served as deputy mayor of Ikeja, one of the most prominent districts in Lagos, Nigeria. She also held a senior role in a major national political body. Her calendar was always full. Her phone was always ringing. Her face was always somewhere: a community meeting, a press briefing, a sustainability forum. She was the first Black woman from her family's Ghanaian background to rise to that level of leadership in Lagos politics. First generation. Self-made. She had studied public health and environmental science, worked with federal agencies, and poured years into resilience projects that helped ordinary communities survive floods and failing infrastructure. She cared, genuinely, visibly cared about the people she served. And everyone around her knew her schedule. Her colleagues, her staff, the journalists who covered her work. If Amara said she would be somewhere at 9 a.m., she was there at 8:55. So when she missed a meeting one morning without a word, no call, no message, no explanation, the people who loved her felt it immediately. Not because they feared the worst, but because they knew her. And they knew that this silence, absence, disappearing without a trace, was simply not something Amara Osei-Mensah did. Something was wrong. They just didn't know how wrong yet. Here's something that nobody tells you about strong people. Their pain doesn't always show up on the outside. Amara had built a beautiful life on paper. She was married to a man named Kofi Boateng. They had been together for about 3 years, living in a modest but comfortable home in the Ikeja GRA neighborhood, the kind of quiet street where neighbors wave at each other and children play outside in the evenings. There were no public arguments, no police reports, no signs, at least not the kind the world could see. But inside any home, behind any closed door, the full story is never what it looks like from the street. In late 2025, something devastating happened to Amara's family. Her younger brother, someone she had loved and protected her whole life, died by suicide. And what made it even more painful was this: he had previously survived a mass shooting. He had already been through so much. And then he was gone. Grief like that doesn't just sit still. It moves through a family like a slow flood, quiet at first, then overwhelming. According to investigators, Kofi later told relatives that in the days before the incident, he had been struggling. He said he experienced a panic attack the day before everything fell apart. He said he planned to talk to Amara that night. We don't know exactly what was said between them. We may never know. But what we do know is that the night of March 31st, 2026, something happened inside that house on that quiet Ikeja street, something that changed everything. And by morning, Amara Osei-Mensah was gone. April 1st, 2026. That date will stay with the people who loved her forever. Her colleagues woke up, made their tea, opened their laptops, and sent her the usual messages. Good morning, the 9 o'clock briefing is ready. Ma, are you on your way? The kind of messages you send when you fully expect a reply. But no reply came. Not from her. And yet, here is the part that still makes people pause. Messages were being sent from her phone. Responses were going out. To her team. To her contacts. Someone was picking up her device and writing back, keeping up the appearance that she was alive and going about her day. At the same time, Kofi Boateng was telling her family that he didn't know where she was. He didn't know where she was. Let that sit for a moment. Her phone was active. Her schedule appeared to be running. And her husband was telling people he had no idea where she had gone. That morning, Kofi left the house. He visited a relative, and in that visit, he said something that shattered everything. He told them he had shot his wife, that he couldn't take it anymore. He handed over a bag and told his relative to handle it carefully, to use gloves. The bag contained a firearm. He then drove to another part of Lagos, to Surulere, where he tried to pass the weapon to someone else, someone who had no idea what had happened. Back in Ikeja, the alarm was growing. Officials were worried. A welfare check was ordered. Officers arrived at the house. They went inside. And upstairs, in a bedroom, wrapped in blankets and sealed in bags, they found Amara. There are cases that break your heart because of what happened. And then there are cases that break your heart twice because of how carefully it was hidden. Amara Ose-Mensah had been shot 3 times with a shotgun. Investigators found evidence suggesting that something had been used to muffle the sound, a pillow placed between the barrel and her body. This was not a moment of blind rage. This was a controlled act, carried out inside a home that should have been the safest place in the world for her. After the shooting, her body was wrapped and placed in an upstairs room. Kofi remained in the house that night. Reports say he slept in a different part of the home. The next morning, he helped create the illusion that she was still alive. When police entered the residence, they found spent shotgun shells. They found the materials used to suppress the sound. They found everything they needed to piece together what had happened in those final hours. Kofi Boateng was located and arrested in Surulere later that day. He was charged with first-degree premeditated murder and evidence tampering. He was held without bail. The evidence against him was layered: physical items from the scene, digital records from both their phones, and his own words, spoken to 2 different people that morning before the police even arrived. He had told them himself. And still, he had tried to disappear the weapon. Still, he had tried to buy time with messages sent from a dead woman's phone. Still, he had told her family he didn't know where she was. The crime was not hidden by silence. It was hidden by performance, by routine, by the appearance of a normal Tuesday morning. I want to end this by saying something that I think matters. Amara Ose-Mensah was not found because someone heard a gunshot. She was not found because a neighbor called the police. She was found because she missed a meeting. A meeting. That one deviation from her routine, one missed calendar appointment, 1 hour of uncharacteristic silence, was the crack that let the light in. It was the thread that, when pulled, unraveled everything. She was a woman whose presence was so consistent, so reliable, so expected, that her absence became impossible to ignore. And in a painful, heartbreaking way, that consistency is what finally told the truth. There are questions that may never be fully answered. What was said between them that final night? Who sent those messages from her phone, and when exactly? What was it that Kofi meant when he said he couldn't take it anymore? Was it grief? Pressure? Something in their private world that no one outside ever saw? We don't know. What we do know is this: a woman who dedicated her life to building things, communities, systems, futures, was taken inside the one place that should have protected her. And the world only found out because she didn't show up to work. If you are watching this and something in it feels familiar, if you are in a relationship where the silence feels heavy, where the walls feel too close, please reach out. Talk to someone. The absence of visible marks does not mean there is no danger. Amara showed up every day for everyone else. We owe it to her memory to show up for each other. Rest in power to every woman whose story the world almost missed. Subscribe for more.